Do you have a problem with fear and worry and anxiety that you're going to make a mistake when you're using memory techniques, especially some of the next level memory techniques we talk about here from the Magnetic Memory Method headquarters in Brisbane? And there's a way to combat that fear. I serve mature learners who like to take mental adventures in their minds so they can unlock the full powers of their memory and learn faster, learn more, and learn more completely because you can assimilate the knowledge and turn it into knowledge much more quickly when you're using memory palaces and magnetic memory palaces in particular. But that doesn't mean that as a mature learner you don't worry about making mistakes and that worry and that fear sometimes just gets in the way of progress. And many people, by the way, this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmarymethod.com. They sometimes call me sensei, teacher, guru, even, and I always reject it. I always turn it around because that's not the point. The point is for you to become your best memory improvement guru. You are the one who can liberate yourself from ignorance, and the only way to do it is to learn these techniques and not go in fear of them. So this is a sort of a response to a question that came from a previous video called all about memory techniques that are pretty next level, 00 to 99, PAO, and so forth. And I really, really want to help one person in particular named Carissa, who made a very long comment here that you can go and read by going through that previous video and address this in the most powerful way that I can think of. So if that is of interest to you, hit that thumbs up button and let's go. So, like I mentioned, this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmarymethod.com, and I'm serious. If you like this kind of education, hit that thumbs up button and let me know in the comments below what questions you have about using your memory at the highest possible level, assuming you're a mature learner who likes to go on the kinds of mental adventures that are possible when you're using memory palaces and all the memory techniques associated with that. And get subscribed to this channel if you aren't already so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you hit that bell icon because we sometimes go on live streams and we can get together and have a chat about it all together, but you'll only be notified if you have hit that bell. Now, let's get to Carissa's question here and her comment, and we won't read the whole thing because it's very extensive, but that's one tip that I got for you if you want to become your own memory improvement guru, is to read the conversations of other people and understand what they're going through and what their thinking is, because it'll help you understand the techniques themselves. It's like beautiful commentary on the videos that I've created from people who are serious about mastering these techniques, and you'll learn so much from them. So thank you, Carissa. I really feel blessed and honored to have such an amazing audience of dedicated learners who really put the time into understanding these techniques and exploring them and being your own guru. And this is what you're doing here. You're being your own best teacher. So you say, and I'm just putting part of it here, I am a little worried that I might make things difficult for me in the future when I try to remember longer sequences of numbers. Maybe I have to remember 3030 or 3003. I've already decided that whoever is doing the action is the first number. Now, if you're reading this and this doesn't make any sense to you, you need to go back and watch that previous video. And by the way, there are some inverse Easter eggs in there, which is that there was a typo on the screen. And I asked some of the people who commented on that about whether I should just remove it or not and put it back up again. And at the end of the day, let's just leave it as an inverse Easter egg, which is, are you paying attention? And but in all honesty, it's just a mistake. But it's the kind of mistake that you can't go around in fear of. So the same thing happens in your memory. Sometimes you'll remember certain things, your images will be sort of off. And one of the things that happens to people is they get the fear before they even get started. So they don't even technically have the problem that they're worried about, right? And so that's a real issue. And you can't do that. If you want to grow anything in life, a skill, a business, or whatever it is that you're doing, you've got to break some eggshells. You've got to make mistakes, and then you just got to own up to them when they're mistakes. Freud said sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and sometimes a mistake is just a mistake. And if you can just say, yeah, that was a mistake, then that's fine, and maybe make some fun around it. Because actually in that previous video, there's a second mistake, another inverse Easter egg, and maybe there's a prize for the person who discovers it. In any case, so Carissa carries on that there would be another image where Harry would be doing the action to Draco for 03. This is all very technical stuff, and I really, really honor you for being this technical about it and thinking about it. But the key thing here is this worry that that it's going to get more complex later. And the reality is that fear is the mind killer. Now that's a quote from Dune by Frank Herbert. And how do you get over that fear? Well, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that right now. So the first thing is to ask questions based on your journey, which is exactly what's happening here with Carissa. So she's on the path and she's asking from the basis of the journey. Now, what I'm going to suggest here is related to the Feynman technique, but it's a little bit more refined for memory students who are using their memory in order to tackle large learning projects like long numbers, or could be foreign language vocabulary or phrases. The whole thing is that you ask questions based on your journey, based on where you are by taking action, because action is how you actually learn these techniques, not thinking about them, not fantasizing about the day when you might use them, but actually using them. That's where all the things are learned. And just ask, what's the most obvious answer to this question that I could try on my own before I press send, before reaching out for help? Ask what you could do on your own, right? It might be watching another video. It might be getting a book or a course. It might be sitting down and just working it out, figuring out, is this fear that I have actually warranted and justified, or will it be relieved by just going ahead and making those mistakes? Because here's the thing, making those mistakes is going to be your best teacher. And you are going to be the best observer of the mistakes and the wisdom that they contain by actually making them. So walk the path. It's very, very important. And look at all the flowers on the path. It's a very, very nice path indeed. And there's never any tragedy. There's, the mnemonic gods, the memory technique overlords are not going to come and punish you or anything like that. You're not going to sear anything so permanently into your brain that you can't work with it. In fact, so many people, they email me and they're like, "Oh, I can't forget the stuff now." And I'm just like, well, why is that a problem? It's not a problem. You have now experienced the miracle of memory, and so you just need to come up with an outcome and figure out the strategy to that outcome, and then use this special thing that you're perceiving as a problem to craft a better path forward and walk the path. And there are many paths to walk, and the journey into memory improvement never ends. It just keeps getting better and better and better as you age, and then your age becomes a asset to you, which is a very, very interesting phenomenon. Now, document the skills in writing. This is why I always teach people to keep a memory journal. Having a memory journal is huge. It's like an artist sketchbook, right? The artist sees where they've been and really can compare the shape of the nose that they were drawing 2 months ago compared to the nose that they're drawing now. And the same thing when you document your journey in memory improvement is you'll see just how far you've come. You'll have endless inspiration and you'll have endless knowledge, endless data to compare yourself with. And I'm talking really getting down to percentages and numbers. So if you're memorizing cards and so forth, well, how many cards did you accurately get? If you're practicing with names, how many names did you accurately get? When you know your numbers, then you can actually see, first of all, just how successful you've been. You never fall into the trap of punishing yourself that you're not as successful as you are, because chances are you're doing really, really well. But it's easy to forget that if you're not documenting it. And then when you're documenting it, you can see, well, holy cow, this is the specific area where I need to improve. This is the 10% where the errors are happening, and here's where I can actually improve. And you'll be able to see this much quicker, much faster, much more profoundly and completely if this is what you're doing. So please, please keep that in mind. You really want to be documenting as much as you can. And then when you have questions, look at your journal, rewrite these questions so that they actually reflect your self-study experiments, because all memory techniques come down to self-study and experimentation with the techniques. Everything is. Every time that I sit down with, say, a deck of cards like this, it's an experiment in how many cards I can do, how quickly, how long the retention will last. Same thing with every Chinese phrase. I'm still learning Chinese. I'm learning Sanskrit and Sanskrit chants and so forth. Every single time it's a new experiment. It's a new use of the tools in the laboratory of my mind. It's a new mental adventure. And so it's just a matter of documenting it, paying real close attention, observing what happens when mistakes happen, which they sometimes do, turning them into lessons. They are the teacher. No guy out there with a YouTube channel or no person with a book is more of a teacher than you on the road, on the path, doing the experiments. You are the scientist in the laboratory of your memory. It's very, very important. This all comes down to the SIP principle in magnetic memory method. It's really, really that simple. You just take things one sip at a time. Study the memory techniques independently. You are always going to be doing this at a self-study level because it's your memory. You're the only one who has access to your memory, and that's a beautiful thing. And you've got to implement the techniques. So the S is study the techniques. I is implement the techniques, and then practice the ones that work the best for you. And then, you always want to challenge yourself with the ones where you're a little bit weaker too, but always strengthen your strengths first before you strengthen your weaknesses, because that will give you all the data that you need to work with your perceived weaknesses. They're never really weaknesses in the first place. So that's really, really important. So another thing about practice is practice with the information that actually improves your life. So a lot of people practice with shopping lists, abstract, weird lists of words that some memory, book author put out there or whatever. It's just a waste of time. Find the information that actually is going to improve your life. Foreign language vocabulary, numbers that you actually need so that you will save time in your life from, sitting there looking up the numbers for your bank account or whatever, or your credit card number. Just work with those. That'll instantly improve your life. It creates actually a dopamine spike in your brain that keeps your confidence high, and it makes everything so much more fun. And this is the mental adventure. So it's really, really important. And also it helps you balance the challenge frustration curve. Keeps you challenged. And then as long as you make sure that you don't get to a point of frustration, then you'll always be growing. You'll always be getting these dopamine spikes. You'll always feel amazing. You'll always love using the memory techniques. It'll never be work. It will always be play. And that's the goal, right? And so getting back to this asking the questions, when you encounter things that make you fearful, just repeat this process that I've just said again and again and again until you've exhausted all the options. Now, you're not going to have to do this for very long before you find the answers in your own practice, but you're going to develop a great deal of pride in your problem solving abilities because of the self study nature of memory techniques. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't ask questions. We're getting to how to ask questions, but you're exhausting your own personal resources and training yourself to be your own teacher, which is the highest possible place that you can be. And ultimately, it's where you are anyway, even if you reject that responsibility that we all have as learners. And so I would just say rewrite the question again with a fuller description of your process now that you've tried to solve it yourself. And then, in the case of Memory Palace, include your Memory Palace drawings that you've made and descriptions of your magnetic imagery, which is something that Carissa is doing in that comment. So go back and check it out. And these are the best comments. I'm so blessed when people give specifics, because when you have specifics, and you'll see my answer to her, and also to Jago Mix in that conversation, you'll see that we can deal with specifics. We can talk about specifics because you're including specifics in your questions. If you're not doing that, then the answer is pretty weak, and it's not an answer at all. It's just, it can only be a general answer if you're only asking a general question. And at every step, continue to ask yourself, what is the most obvious answer to this question before I press send? Now, I'm not trying to tell you not to send questions or be active in forums or anything like that. It's just an exercise in what is the obvious answer here. And it might be SIP, or it might be something else. It might be, well, I should go reread that book, or the 5 books that I have on my shelf about memory techniques, and maybe they have an index or so forth, and I can really, really just see if the answer isn't already there, so that I don't have to sit there and wait for an answer. And some people, they just never will answer you anyway, and you could have just answered it yourself if you followed these principles. And then congrats, you're your own memory guru, and you are helping yourself at the highest possible level. And this is a really, really important thing, to congratulate yourself when you take action in this way, right? Because you're self-sufficient now. You're a lifelong student. You're a mature learner. And you are now going to be in the position to be a teacher. And, thumbs up to that if you like that point. The attention that you're going to get now from the teacher is going to be 1,000 times more valuable, because the teacher is going to see evidence of your action. And really, in effect, you will teach the teacher. And that's always the goal. They're another human being, right? Why put them up on a pedestal? They're just another version of you, right? Or they're where you would like to be. Or, you never know. There could be that they're just casting illusions and they're not anything like that they say they are, which often happens. So you need to really, really meet the teacher halfway, and in fact, always have the goal of teaching the teacher, inspiring your teacher, and so forth. This is where really things start to pick up and get interesting. And always add teaching others what you've learned to your SIP. So you're taking it one sip at a time. Always teach others. Like do a memory demonstration of what you can do with your memory, and then teach others. And then you'll actually learn the techniques a lot better. And they'll be asking you questions, and then share with them this kind of philosophy of learning, because otherwise if you just teach too much, you're going to create learned helplessness in the world, and learned helplessness is a curse upon all. It just weakens the human species. We need to bring each other up, and in the case of memory, a lot of times there is no answer other than, well, you have to study, you have to implement, and you have to practice. Like, there's no getting around that. It's like playing an instrument, and you can't just say, well, son, if you want to play the guitar, and then blah, 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 a bunch of words. No, the answer is put the guitar in your hands, start to play around with the fingers, study the techniques around guitar, implement them, and then practice with songs. Practice with songs you actually love and enjoy. Some people say practice with scales. Well, scales is fine, but really you can actually learn scales very musically, and you don't have to do scale practice all the time in order to achieve the same chops that you would get from just running through scales. And that's my point about not memorizing shopping lists. You can get these skills by skipping the bizarre memory exercises that are often given out there and just going straight to the information that you need to learn. Learn the memory techniques with the information that's going to improve your life. You'll learn the information faster, and you'll learn the techniques faster, and you'll get those dopamine spikes that inspire you, keep your courage high, keep your confidence high, and give you the clarity that you need in order to keep on going. And then you teach others. Teach others. It's huge for also more dopamine spikes and so forth. But do it in a way that doesn't create learned helplessness. And remember, memory takes place in your mind. Improving your memory is always self-study. It's always self-study. There's no two ways around this. And that's a beautiful thing. It's the most important thing in the world to understand. And that doesn't mean that there isn't community. There's lots of ways to be part of the community, like Carissa in the dialogue. And you guys are teaching me. And I really, really appreciate that. And if you're in the master class or you're in the mastermind, there's special groups just for you. Right now, we've got a 30-day German vocabulary challenge that's going on, and it's just a delight to see some action taking place there and someone engaged in the self-study, a little bit of back and forth about particular things. And can you say this in German? Can you not? And it's just great. Meeting students and teachers halfway is where we get much better results at the end of the day. And so the presentation of what you're doing is always the best teacher for you in order to get results. And ultimately, it's all the cure, right? The major memory truth you need is that you create memory palaces, you use memory palaces, you use recall rehearsal properly inside of memory palaces, and then you explain to yourself and others what's going on in your memory palaces, and then you're going to get the best possible results. So if you are watching this and you still haven't taken my free course, let me give you the unfair advantage of the free course for free. Go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT, get signed up, just dive in, take action. It sounds kind of weird to say it this way, but suppress the need to ask questions if they come up and try to answer them yourself. Right? There's lots of videos here to watch. There's lots of videos in the free memory improvement kit, 4 in total, and there's worksheets, and you just got to fill out the worksheets, complete them. I know that it sometimes can, for some people, raise a lot of questions. They're typically questions of the why nature. There's a couple of learning styles. Maybe we'll talk about them in another video, but one of those learning styles is the why learner, and as weird as it seems, if you can just suppress that why and use this kind of an enhanced, advanced Feynman technique approach of answering your own questions, you're going to solve the answer of why, because the why is not that clear to us. We don't know all the brain science yet, and we may never know it, right? But memory is a very, very clearly understood thing from thousands of years ago, how to use it in order to learn and remember information quickly. So if you want that and you haven't taken this free course yet, please do. I think it'll be the best investment you make of your time in a long time, and it will serve you for the rest of your life. All you need to do is study these techniques, implement these techniques, and practice them with the information that improves your life. So thank you very much, everybody, for being such a great audience. Thank you for these great questions, and check out the rest of the questions there on that previous video about numbers, and add to the discussion. But always keep in mind, adding to the discussion from being on the journey, because general questions can only ever get general answers, but specific questions that come with evidence of being on the journey, then they get very laser targeted answers that will help you in ways that you can't even imagine until you have joined us in this beautiful realm and world of memory improvement and enhanced memory skills for mature learners. So this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com. Until we have a chance to speak again, keep yourself magnetic.